What's up, peeps? I'm going to show you all the buttons with Potemkin and some combos you probably need. I'm not going to show you everything that's optimal, but I'm going to show you things you'll be wanting to use pretty much every match. I'm going to go over 3 of Potemkin's biggest strengths and 3 of Potemkin's biggest weaknesses, so you guys can kind of understand where you want to be in the game and where you don't want to be in the game. So, 3 of Potemkin's biggest strengths is that his command grab is 5-frame startup, and it cannot be bursted. So he pretty much gets a whole... Most characters can't even do that much damage off of a combo. But Potemkin gets that much damage and doesn't have to be scared of getting bursted. That's a huge strength. Another giant strength about Potemkin is just his damage output off of everything. Just doing the simplest things brings you a lot of fucking damage, and it's great. And the last thing that's very obvious, but very good, is his range. Potemkin has amazing normals. I wouldn't say the best normals in the game because of the frame data, but they're fucking long, you know? You can't really contest too much of his stuff because of the range it has. Now, the 3 of the things you got to worry about with Potemkin, I'm going to go... They all have to do with mobility, but kind of more than that. So... Potemkin's slow and cannot dash. That's why you have to use Hammerfall to go forward, right? But because he's so slow, what that means is that you're going to be pushed back to the corner constantly. If you play Potemkin, you have to be really used to playing in the corner. And most characters get their giant combos in the corner, or they get the best mix-ups in the corner, stuff like that. So you have to get really used to being in the corner as Potemkin, because good players will not let you just walk out. Right? So just be wary of that. Next up is his frame data. Potemkin has a 5-frame jab and a 5-frame command grab, but all of his other buttons are they're so much slower than most of the cast. His 2P, most characters have a 5-frame 2P, 6-frame 2P. His is 8 frames. Now it has great range, so it makes sense, but it's literally 5 frames to 8 frames. Potemkin doesn't have anything in between. So a lot of moves are like -6. With Potemkin, you just have you don't have anything to punish that. -7, you don't have anything to punish that. And then even on -8 punishes, they leave you really far. Most characters get pushed back pretty far, and then this is all you get is a little 25 damage slap. So you still get a punish, but just know that Potemkin's frame data makes his punish game a lot less scary. The last giant negative that's not apparent is that almost all Potemkin's moves are highs. This is a high, this is a high, this is a high, this is a high, flick is a high. Most of his moves are highs. Now what that means is that almost all of his moves can get 6P through. If they have upper body invincibility, they can go through all your buttons. This is a high, yeah. So if other players know that, they can just use 6P as like a counter poke button on almost everything and get their turn on you. 5P, this button is good for anti-airing. Occasionally, it's your fastest button, 5-frame startup. One of the things that sucks really bad about 5P is this. If they run at you, you literally can't jab them. Almost every character while crouching, you also cannot hit. Some characters you can hit while they're running, but like Kai, you can hit while he's running. But a lot of characters you won't be able to. But yeah, what I was saying earlier, it's pretty much good for an anti-air mostly. Your fastest button also. But the thing is, a lot of times, moves most characters can punish, you can't punish because they're too low to the ground for you to hit. But in a scramble with 5P, you can do jab, jab into this. That's the best scaling. If you do 3 jabs, there's a little bit less damage. Oops. Yeah, if you do 3 jabs, there's a little bit less damage here. Because that was 92, now this will be 90. You can do jab into light kick or 5K. Oops. So that's cool, that can do some setup. One last note about 5P, the hitbox on it is very weird. If you look here, so the palm of his hand is the hitbox, his fingers have a hurt box. Thus, it's not an amazing anti-air, but it's alright. 2P is one of your best buttons as Potemkin. This thing is not a low, by the way. It looks like a low, it's a mid. But it has incredible range. It's 8-frame startup. For an 8-frame move, it goes pretty dang far, to be honest. The thing you want to use mostly for this is that you can do 2P into 6K. So, that is not real. But no one's going to ever hit you in between it. So you can go like 2P, 6K into Garuda, 2P, 6K into Flick. Again, none of this is real, but just good pressure. But the real good thing about 2P is that you can 2P into car command grab. So if you're point blank, you can do 2Ps into car command grab, which is very nice. So in mix-ups, you can do close slash, well, let's stick with 2P, but yeah, you can do like close slash this, car command grab, right? But that's the whole trick, is that you can also just do it once. So at certain distances, like right here, you can do it once and then go into car command grab. So it's like a button you stuff people with, and you go into grab or 6P. Or 6K. I usually do 6K instead after 2P, but yeah. So 6P is your go-to anti-air. I don't feel like I really have to describe that. I assume you've played this game before if you're watching a guide. But this is your go-to anti-air. One thing nice about this move compared to other Potemkin's moves or other people's 6P is that it's active for a very long time. It has an 11 frame startup, which is a little long, but it's active for like 7 frames or more, something like that. So if you throw it out and they're going to land on you, you're probably going to hit it. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Also, one thing about Potemkin, I'll probably re-emphasize this during this guide a bunch, but hard knockdowns are your best friend. So this gives you a guaranteed hard knockdown, because this is the range you want to be as Potemkin, is at exactly this point blank, so you can throw them with a mix-up. All right, another one of Potemkin's best buttons. 5K is one of your best buttons. It has it has 7 active frames, which meaning for Oki settings or for meaties, it's very good. Hitting this and this is very simple. 7 active frames is a ridiculous amount of active frames to have. So using this on a wake up is very nice, so you don't mess it up. And also it's a low. It does more damage than 2K as well, so, and has the exact same startup frames, 11 frames. So usually you just want to use 5K. And it's very good for stuffing moves. So with it being 7 active frames, let's say you're scared someone's like Eno or Sol are going to do a low profile across the screen. You can just throw this out randomly and check them with it, right? So a lot of times I'll do like whatever this move is, Urian Wall, then they'll go under it. You can just kick them back into it. It has a very fast recovery too, so it's active for 7 frames and really fast recovery. See how fast I can move out of that? It's pretty dang quick. So literally just throwing this out a whole bunch, not a bad idea. It will definitely bait some buttons. So 2K, I know I just talked about how good 5K is. 2K is also good. It actually goes farther than 5K. So I can hit 2K there. I can't hit 5K. I can hit 2K. It's only active for 4 frames though. So with this one, you definitely have to be a lot more precise. The main use for it is just if someone's approaching you, like let's say a chip's gonna run at you across the map, right? You'll probably want to press 2K to stop them or stuff them, right? You do the same thing with 5K, but with the little bit extra range will definitely help a lot. So literally if you land with a jump in and want to go to low, it doesn't matter which one you go to. Just make sure if you like do a far range you want to do 2K instead. 6K. This button is really good and really bad at the same time. So 6K is, its startup is on like 20 something frames. It's only active for like 3 to 4 frames, I think. It's a lot less active than you think it is, but the thing is that it forces pressure, right? It pretty much pushes you into their face and puts you where you want to be. So after 6K, we went over this briefly already, but you can do 6K into Flick, you can do 6K into Garuda Impact, yada yada. But I want to show you guys one thing. So let me show you. If you do 6K into Flick, they can hit you out of it every time. It is never real. Every character can do the reversal super or do a DP on both settings. Not once will it ever be real. Even max distance. At max distance, it actually hits with Garuda Impact. So just know that. But the one thing you can do is that you can do 6K into Mega Fist backwards, and you can still get punished for this, but it's just a lot less likely because if they know they can counter it, they're not looking for you to do Mega Fist. I just had this idea, hold up. But you can do that. If you really think they're gonna react, you can do a delayed super and it will work. I just laughed at. I literally just now had that idea. I never thought of that before. Close slash is one of your go-to buttons. I talked about how you want to be up close after hard knockdowns. This is what you want to be using. You want to do 5 or close slash all the time. It is only active for 4 frames as an 8 frame startup, but the thing that makes this button so good, it's +8 on block. So most characters have a 5 frame jab, right? So if you do 5K or close slash into close slash, that's plus. Almost, there's only a couple characters that can beat you out of that, right? It's very good. And the thing that makes that even better is that it's a real frame trap if you do close slash to jab. That's a real frame trap. Not a single character in the game can interrupt you between that, right? But they could crouch under it. But yeah. But what's even better is that if you do 5K into Pot Buster, not a single character in the game can interrupt it. Unless they do a reversal super. But yeah. No matter what, if you do this and they don't jump or backdash, you're gonna hit it. They press a button, you win every time. That is why you see Potemkins go for this so often, right? If you do too fast, that'll happen because you're canceling. So you gotta make sure you time it right. But yes, it's very good. So we'll go over it again. The things you want to do is that you want to do close slash, close. If you do it too fast, you get far slash after. So close slash, and then you can go into Kara Potemkin Buster. Or you can do close slash 2P, which is a lot easier to do because you have to time close slash. If you fuck up a little bit, they might hit you out of it with a DP or something, or I guess they can hit you with a DP anyway, but if you fuck it up a little bit, they could jab you out of it or something. So I recommend usually going for close slash to 2P, but if you can close slash, it's a better option overall, because then you're +4. Or if you just want to finish the string, you do close slash, far slash, heavy slash. Make sure to slow down the buttons also to frame trap it. We'll go over more of that later. Or you can do close slash 2P into far slash. That's not real, but it'll catch a lot of people's jumps and backdashes and stuff. Oh, if you think they're gonna backdash, close slash 2P, then 6K or 6H. It will catch people's backdashes, but that has to be a hard read. All right, far slash. Far slash is good for 2 reasons. Far slash is a 11 frame startup, 12 frame startup move, and has very long range. It also anti-airs. So if you look right here, you'll see that Potemkin outreaches his arm. That is actually an anti-air hitbox, his hand like that, right? So it's not your most reliable anti-air. You'll trade a lot. But the thing about Potemkin is that he has a lot of life and a lot of guts, right? A lot of defensive, whatever. So a trade is normally in your favor. For example, if a Foss dive kicks and they try to go in their bag bomb and you trade with 5K or 5S, trade with 5S, you win the trade every single time. All right, 2S. This button in the betas kind of got a little gutted. It's still very good. But this button is 13 frame startup. It's one of your slowest buttons, but it has very weird properties to it. So we'll get into it. But this button's really good if you just want to like throw out a normal to try stuff them or try to catch something out. Again, 13 frames, it's relatively safe. You can do this into flick. Again, it's not real, kind of like 6K into flick. But 2S into flick is not too bad of an option. You'll catch a lot of people who try to like jump out of it or backdash and stuff like that. So just know, if you're throwing this out, probably throw flick after it. This isn't as suggested, but you can do this as well. Now, the cool thing about this button is that on counter hit, it's pretty much a combo setup, right? So if you put them to counter hit and you hit this, they go into the whole like controller button. I guess in this game it's not a controller woggle, whatever it's called. Yeah, it puts them in that stun state, right? So you can hit this, and you can hit another one, but you can hit this and then go into standing heavy slash. You can hit this, cancel into this, Kara Potemkin Buster. You can do that type of combo off of it if you react to them. Actually, if you're not special canceling off of it and you expect to counter it, that can happen. It's very good for that. You can do a whole bunch of combos with this. But yeah, the other thing that makes this button very interesting, let me put block or jump on, is that when you hit it in the air, it's like a knock-up. It's like a juggle move, right? So it hits them up in the air. So you see these buttons push your opponent away, right? But for some reason, 2S is like a juggle button. So a lot of times, like let's say if I hit an aerial, right? If I hit an aerial, I can use 2S to go into heat knuckle and stuff like that. So it's pretty much your juggle combo button. Another weird property about this button on block is I'll show you compared to the 5S. So if I hit this into 5S, or let's get closer. I hit I hit this into 5S, they're not in grab range, right? But if I do this into this, they're in grab range. The pushback on 2S is very slim. It barely pushes anybody back. And for a grappler, that's very important. Now, I don't remember its recovery time, per se. But, yeah, just know it doesn't push back very far. So, and you can Gatling it into heavy slash. So if you think they're scared of that, you can probably just go into Potemkin Buster. It's pretty cool. One of your best buttons. Heavy slash. So this thing is very good, but also has a terrible, two-sided sword part to it, or whatever you want to call it. This button is one of your farthest reaching normals. I think it's 16 frame startup. One of your go-to like poke buttons, check buttons. You think someone's going to approach, you can throw this out. Pretty great. One cool thing about it is properties on counter hit. So one cool thing about 5S for a DP punish is that if you think you're going to DP, you can punish it on landing with this little nifty combo. As I fuck it up, you punish it on landing with this. Pretty good combo. This button is very negative on block, and you normally don't cancel out of it. The only time you cancel out of it is like Hammerfall cancel, or if you do like backwards Mega Fist or forward Mega Fist or something. But characters like Ramlafall, if she does her reversal super, it will hit your 5S from pretty much anywhere. If you space it like that, she won't hit it, but if you do it close like this, she will be able to reverse it and hit you. It's very annoying. This is one of Potemkin's most interesting buttons, 6H. Longest range normal, right? Goes pretty dang far, gives a bunch of pushback, as you can see. Pretty cool. The most useful thing about this button is that Potemkin struggles when he's in the corner. Whoops. Potemkin struggles when he's in the corner, right? So if you hit a 6H when you're in the corner, you can go into Hammerfall and you get back to center stage. And guess what? If you hit another one, you have the corner now. Doing 6H into Hammerfall is one of your best ways to gain space. You don't want to throw out 6H all the time because it's very risky. It's a high for one. Had to burp. It's a high for one. It's punishable on block, even though it pushes them so far back. So who really gives a fuck? But yeah, very easy jump it. If they jump it, if they see you do this while they're jumping in, you're gonna get hit. The startup on it's crazy. I don't remember the number right now, but it's pretty insane. So 6H actually does more than most special moves. So if you're ending a wall combo, 6H is the last button you want to click because it does a lot of damage. I'll show you right here. 6H is one of your best combo or last hit tools used during a wall combo. So you can do Heat Knuckle and then grab people off the wall with Red RC, and you just go into that. And there's pretty much no better move you could use in situations like that. So when you lab wall combos, you want to try to get your last hit to be 6H. If you can. It's not always applicable. 2H is a very strange move. Just like most people's 2Hs, it's how you start your juggle combos, right? Puts them in an air state, right? So a lot of times, like if you want to combo off close slash, you do close slash 2H. What's more optimal is you do close slash, crouching, slash, 2H. But the one thing about this hitbox is that you see how it's off screen right there? His hand up to his forearm is a disjoint. So characters like Mayor Chip that go really high above you and try to dive kick you down, your giant arm is a disjoint. You do have to time it right. It has a 12 frame startup, which is interesting. So this has a faster startup by 1 frame than this does. This is 13 frames, this is 12 frames. But also, this has a lot more recovery, so it feels like a way bigger button. So just know, don't whiff this and cancel it on block no matter what, because it's very easily punishable. On counter hit 2H, you can land a second 2H, by the way. A lot of Potemkins don't know this. You can do it twice in a row. That was weird how I switched sides, but yeah, that's a combo you can hit after a hitting 2H counter hit. 5D has really good range. For a 5D, his 5D goes ridiculously far. But the caveat to that is that his 5D is a high. So it's an overhead high, so enemies can 6P through it. But honestly, I'll take that for the range. Pretty great. I don't feel like I have to explain to you that you could do a low into 5D, because every character can do that. But yeah, one of your go-to mix is that if you can do 5K into command grab, or you can do 5K into 5D, or you can do 5K into 2D. So a whole little mix up there. It makes people very on the edge of how to block. 2D is probably Potemkin's best button. It is my favorite button. For one, it has a lot of active frames. For two, see his foot hitbox? The hitbox actually goes past his toes. So it covers the air in front of him too. And three, the range on it is ridiculous. And four, it gives you a hard knockdown. This thing does everything for you. On counter hit area, if you counter hit someone in the air, it also gives you a hard knockdown. I learned that recently, by the way. So yeah, you want to use this in a hammer fall. You want to use this in a hammer fall and get close. I see a lot of Potemkin players do this into this, and that's cool if you're gonna kill, but you're literally giving away your strike throw mix up, right? So when you hit this, you want to cancel hammer fall to get close. This is the range you want to be at with Potemkin. 2D will do that for you. If you're scared of someone approaching, 2D. Now, one thing I want to note, it is punishable on block, and it is semi-easy to whiff punish. So you don't want to throw it out like a maniac. But at the same time, the range is very deceptive, so people will usually run into it without realizing it. It's pretty great. Potemkin's throw, I'll just show, there's not really much I can talk about throw, but just know off a throw, you can do 6K. Mid-screen, you want to do 6K into flick. The timing is a little weird. You want to do 6K into, like, hold flick. Not fully held, but, yeah, a little bit held, so you delay the timing. You can also do this, but it's tough. You can do, did I say 6K? Oh, wait, 6K is, yeah, you can throw into 6K, and then you can hit this. But I just want to let you know that timing is tough. You have to wait till your 6D's full forward momentum's done, and then you have to cancel at the right time so they're not able to get out of it. So you're usually going to mess that up. I'm not going to lie. It's very weird timing. So we're going to go through the aerials. This button is good for two reasons. One, if you're air to air, this is your fastest button. You can spam it rapidly. A lot of time you'll see me use it when I use Urian Wall. So if I think they're going to jump over Urian Wall, I'll wait to see them jump, and then I'll just mash this. Pretty much saying, hey, buddy, you can't cross, right? Very good to deny. And the best thing about it is if they jump over Urian Wall, it's kind of hard to set this up. So I'm just going to do it the slightly... Use your imagination. So when you hit people with this, they just fly down and forward, right? So if they try to jump over your Urian Wall, you'll just hit them back into it. It's pretty great. Next up is Jump K. Jump K has very weird properties. This is one of those buttons that I feel like other Potemkins aren't really like analyzing or using very often. So Jump K hits people up and away. So as you see, it hits them up and away, unlike Jump P, which just pushes them down and away. So because it hits up and away, you can combo off of it, which is really cool. I think I showed off one of these earlier, but yeah, you can hit this, then do stuff like that, just right off of it. Pretty good. You can also, if you have meter, go into Heavily Potemkin Buster. Not the best setup for Heavily Potemkin Buster you'd want, but hey, it's guaranteed, so you might as well take it. Very good air-to-air button. Very good if they're higher than you. So jumping after somebody, not too bad. You can get corner combos, but I haven't really optimized a corner combo with this yet. So just know you can get pretty much anything you've ever desired. No, but a lot of stuff you can do off Jump H or Jump K. Another note about Jump K is Jump K has very little block stun, which is a good thing for a grappler. So with Jump K, if they're on the ground, you can do Jump K really low to the ground, then go into a Pop Buster. If you do it too fast, it won't work. So you don't want to do it like instantly, or you'll whip. But I tried to mess it up right there and it hit. So yeah, pretty generous. So you want to hit this low to the ground and then go into Pop Buster. Again, you probably want to wait just a smidge if you go super deep. But you can just go straight into Pop Buster normally and you'll be good to go. Very good to get some Pop Busters going. Jump S is your best jump in. One, the animation's great, a big old bonk on the head. And two, it's just your best jump in move when they're on the ground. One thing I do want to note, I've been doing this recently. If you air to air someone with this, you can combo off of it. It's just very weird. You can hit stuff like this. You can't go that crazy with the combo, but you can combo off of it. So it's nice if you get a trade in the air. Try to get close slash on landing or 2P on landing or something like that. Or just jab on landing too. If that's the fastest you can do, just go into jab into that. And at least that's something if you trade, you know? But yeah, your best jumping button. So it hits from really high up. See, I'm at like the top of my jump and it hits Soul on the ground. That will change for different characters. Like Mei, you have to kind of time it a little differently. But yeah, it does have cross-up properties, but it's really hard to hit the cross-up. So just know, very rarely you can do jump S, did I say H? Jump S and cross up like that. But it's very hard to do, so I wouldn't try to go for that unless you're finding like another Potemkin or something, but you probably shouldn't be jumping that close against Potemkin anyway. You can hit jump S high up and then go into jump H. Because it's a Gatling, you can just go into them naturally. It's pretty good, because a lot of times, the reason why that's so good with Potemkin specifically is that you can do a high jump S and then go into command grab. This will catch a lot of people off guard. You want to do jump S on a whiff punish instead of jump H, because jump S keeps them closer to you when you hit them, right? When you do jump H, it pushes them farther back, which doesn't lead you into optimal combos. So you can do jump S, so you can do jump S close slash into that, or you can do this. But if you do jump H, you're gonna whiff it every single time. So when you do jump ins, it is less damage than jump H, but it leads into a combo. So highly recommend doing this instead. Jump H is weird. Jump H, the reason it's good is that it's a cross up, but I'm gonna try to deter you guys from using this button very often. You only want to use it for in combos, air-to-air situations, and if you have to cross up with it. I don't recommend using this button because it can easily get low profiled. Characters like Faust, you can't hit them while they're crouching. This thing does not have a good hitbox to hit people on the ground, which is weird. So trying to use it as your go-to jump-in button, do not recommend. I would always use jump slash instead. Just because jump slash, your hand goes under you, and that's the hitbox, right? Your hand's under you, that's the hitbox. On jump H, the hitbox stops before your elbow. Before the elbow, the hitbox stops, and you whiff. It whiffs all the time. It's very frustrating. So when you're jumping in, don't recommend jump H unless you're crossing. One good thing about jump H, though, is that it's a very good air-to-air counter hit button. So similar to jump K, you can do kind of the same combos with counter hit jump H. So you can hit this, go into 2S, and then beat Knuckle and stuff like that. Again, you're not going to get some crazy combo, but it's pretty good. Jump H into Potemkin Buster. This is pretty good. If you have a bar meter, I highly recommend doing this because it's pretty much guaranteed every time. There's distances where it won't work, and I just want to point out that scaling on jump-in moves add a lot of scaling in this game. So you're getting 200 damage, a little less than you normally would get for just a raw Potemkin Buster, I think, or maybe just a tad bit more, I don't remember, but yeah, if you got a different move and went into Potemkin Buster like 2H, you'd do better scaling. So just know that. But still, guaranteed Potemkin Buster, 200 damage, I ain't complaining. This is another one of Potemkin's best buttons. Jump D, 1 looks funny, and 2 is very good. It does trade a lot. That's the one negative thing about it. Jump D trades a lot. But again, when Potemkin trades, because of his health advantage over characters, trading's a good thing. When you trade with Potemkin, it's usually in your favor. So when you trade with this, it's alright. But this button can mix up people on landing, so you can jump twice, delay your landing, and then do that. So a lot of people, when they see you above you, they'll try to throw out an anti-air. You can stop, have their anti-air whiff, hit them with jump D. If you hit jump D on smaller characters, it combos with 5P. So if you hit jump D right above, now I'm on counter hit 5P, it's a real combo. Doesn't work on Soul, but still a nice note. So you are, if you hit somebody with jump D, it is your advantage. But with Potemkin's frame data, you know, your advantage isn't really your advantage. But that brings me to this. Your fastest move is 5P, right? Now 5P is 5 frames, but so is your Potemkin Buster. So the reason why Jump D is so good is because on hit especially, if you hit a Jump D, you can go straight into Potemkin Buster and it works almost every time. It can whiff occasionally, but normally you just Jump D, Potemkin Buster, call it a day. Because like I said, normally it's a true combo on May, but on Soul it's not. So you just go Potemkin Buster, good day. On block, I think it's around 0 frames. Again, height of characters matter a lot when it comes to Jump D, but it's about 0 on block. So you can also block, go into Potemkin. You can have them block it, then go into Potemkin Buster. This works a lot for me too. So landing with Potemkin Buster is great. But the other option I want to go over is that if they think you're going to Potemkin Buster, Close Slash is pretty good too. You can go into this, into Close Slash. It's not real. If they're mashing, they will beat you. But it's your, your second fastest move you can go into, and it can lead into a combo, so it's very good. One last super useful thing for Jump D, if someone's gonna run up grab, you can just quickly Jump D and you'll counter it. Like if you think if Chip's gonna do his command grab, normally you can't really punish it off a jump, but with Potemkin you just jump, press D, you'll hit him out of it. Very good if you're trying to, or very good if you think someone's gonna run up and whiff an attack, you can just hit him with Jump D. Or if you think someone's gonna whiff a grab, you can just jump up and hit him with Jump D. So that's why it's one of his best buttons. The reason why we're all playing Potemkin is for one reason, Pod Buster. We want big damage all the time. Grabbing people, making themselves feel bad. Making them feel bad, not ourselves, even though you might be depressed, whatever. Pod Buster is good for multiple reasons. 1, the damage. 2, it's a guaranteed punish that they can't burst out of. 3, I know it sucks that you throw them across the screen, but Pot Buster gives you range. It gives you ways to get out of the corner, which is one of Potemkin's biggest problems. Potemkin has a very hard time building meters, so the one thing Pot Buster gives you is a lot of meter. Look, it builds half a bar a meter. Almost. A little less than half a bar a meter. No other move in his kit builds as much meter as Pot Buster. That's why a lot of times you can combo out of it, because that's when you get meter. And I want to advise you guys, comboing out a Pot Buster can be good, but normally you want to save that meter for other situations. Unless you're going to kill with it, I recommend saving the meter. The only time I recommend using your meter with Pot Buster is to get farther out of the corner, or you're going to kill. Besides that, don't recommend using the meter. I will show you one tricky thing with Pot Buster that not that many people do. If you do Pot Buster in the corner, you can go into 6K and then go into Garuda Impact. And in Garuda Impact, you can cancel it pretty much any time as fast as possible. If you want, it will hit, because the faster you cancel it, the meatier it is. So in the corner, do not, I repeat, do not use your meter to get a corner combo unless it's going to kill. Just get the throw, then 6K, go into this, or get the throw, get the throw, 5K, then go into this. Highly recommendable. You do 5K when you don't want to get DP'd or woke up supered, by the way. If not, just 6K because it is more damage. So yeah, very, very good. You get any corner pressure, you can go into this. If they block it, you can just go into another Pod Buster and do it again. This literally puts you in the range of the strike throw mix-up where you want to be. It's pretty great. Heat Knuckle is the next move, and a lot of people think this is a nerf. So when you jump, it actually has a lot of chip damage. If you look at the top right, you can see it does quite a bit of chip damage, which is funny. But yeah, so it does get blocked when you use it, right? It's not a guaranteed throw anymore. However, what we'll go into cars more later, it almost guarantees you a car command grab. So just a normal Heat Knuckle on Soul does around 107 damage. But a block Heat Knuckle does 172 damage. And I just want to mind you, I have him on constantly jumping when I did that. If you time it just right, this is guaranteed, unless they do a reversal super. So if they get blocked by this, you can go into command grab or car command grab and get a guaranteed Pot Buster. So you get the chip damage plus the Pot Buster, so that's around 180, 190 damage, right? Probably around 190, but I don't know the exact numbers. Knuckle can grab people off the wall, which is very cool. So you can yank people off the wall, then use RC, red RC, to get your knock up again, and then go back into Knuckle. And if you have 2 bars, you can do it again. And it does pretty dang good damage, right? I could have done another 6H there, that would have been better, but it does pretty dang good damage, right? If you want to use all your bar like that. It actually does more damage to do that than it would be to heavily Potemkin Buster. If you want the hard knockdown, obviously go with this instead, but do not use Heavenly Potemkin Buster to get people off the wall. I will show you the damage difference right now. So, Heavily Potemkin Buster does 275, right? With 1 bar. Does that more damage? And that does 276. And then if you're going to use 2 bars, so if you're going to use 2 bars and you want to do the same type of combo with the grab off the wall, this is another combo you can do with Heavily Potemkin Buster RC. That does oh, that's even less damage than before. The scaling's that bad. But 270 is around the max range you can get with 2 bars. Now, if you want to use 2 bars on the wall, this is how much damage this does. I swear, if you put me in a real game, I don't mess these up. But if I do them in training mode, I mess up 1,000 times. I don't know why. I'm like, you know, most people can't perform under pressure. I'm the opposite. I can only perform under pressure. I swear. There. There. 285. One last note about Knuckle is that it's 11 frame startup. Same thing with 6P. 6P is also 11 frame startup. But the thing about 6P is that it has high invulnerability. Well, Knuckle does not have high body invincibility, right? Other thing about this move is that your whole arm is a disjoint, right? So your upper body can get hit, but your giant arm that's reaching out to the sky is a disjoint. So just mind that. If someone's doing an instant air dash at you, 6P is better. If someone's jumping twice at you, Knuckle's better. It's hard to know which one to use in a split-second decision. I can't snap with this hand. With a split-second decision like that, but just know the properties. So Mega Fist is the button everyone likes to talk about with Potemkin. We've all heard Mega Fist 18 times in a row. Everyone tells you you can't anti-air it. But I have news for you. You can, and Mega Fist is super good and not as good as you think at the same time. Mega Fist is 25 frame startup forwards and backwards. Yeah. It has the exact same frame data while starting to end. But after hitting somebody, it has different properties and recovery frames. So Mega Fist forward is easier with punish. When he pulls his hands back forward, he does it a lot slower than he does it backwards, right? You can kind of, if you look real closely, you can see he pulls his arms back slower on forward than backwards. So it's easier to whiff punish forward, and it's harder to whiff punish backwards. And same thing on block. Mega Fist forward is minus on block by -6, and the thing no one knows is it's -2 on hit. So if you Mega Fist forward on its appropriate time, it's not your turn. You're gonna get thrown, you're gonna get command grabbed. You got literally the best thing you can do when you do Mega Fist forward is Mega Fist forward, grab. If you're in the range to grab, press grab. And if you're not in the range to press grab, backdash. Or pray that they don't know it's punishable. Because it is not safe. You want to get out of there as fast as you can if they know the matchup. But a lot of times people don't know it, and so you can just do Mega Fist forward and a command grab. You'll see I hit this all the time. Almost every game I play with Potemkin, I check if they know if it's minus or not, and then afterwards I'm like, oh, I can just command grab, sick. A lot of people think it's your turn, but it's the opposite. It is not your turn with Mega Fist forward. But Mega Fist backwards is Potemkin's best move. Not actually, but it's very good. So this is plus on block. Unlike the other button, this is always plus. So Mega Fist forward is the stepchild we didn't want, and then Mega Fist backwards is our academic scholar child, right? So this is very good, especially if you're in the corner. If you're in the corner with Potemkin, if they're trying to press any button on you and you can just be like, nope, I don't want it. Obviously, there's counterplay. It's still a risk. I'm not telling you to spam this like a moron because you're going to get hit. But they mess up their meaty timing, they're going to hit it, you know, and it's plus on block. So, hey, if they block it, it's still your turn. It's pretty great. Other thing about Mega Fist is that if you do it at the right distance, you'll get a meteor version of it. I only can remember it with Kara, but I'm trying to go over Kara's later. So yeah, you can hit a meaty Mega Fist kind of like that, but it, you know, it's kind of dependent on if they're moving / the very perfect spacing. If you do it perfectly where you hit it very low to the ground, then it's not -2 on hit, but it's still not really your turn. So just remember that if you do Mega Fist forward. But yeah, when you Mega Fist backwards, it's your turn. So you just go into this. I tend to go into close slash because if it counter hits, then that combos, but... Or, yeah. On counter hit, it combos, right? So you can go into close slash. And it's a true combo. The timing is a little weird, but you'll get it. I never will, but you will get it. So you can go into stuff like that. And then do 2 more Mega Fists. Happy day. Mega Fist backwards. You can go into other buttons like this, but honestly, you'll just still want to do the same combo. Close slash into that. Pretty much just what you want to go to when you hit a counter hit Mega Fist. One last thing about Mega Fist, though, is that if you hit someone airborne with it, you go into a juggle combo. It doesn't need to be counter hit. It can be counter hit, but if you hit them in the air, they bounce up like that every time, right? You can go into 2S into Heat Knuckle. So if you do Mega Fist forward and you get in a juggle state, you want to use 5K because it has a bounce up property. So you hit this. So you hit this into 5K, and then you can go into Heat Knuckle. Little bouncer property. Also, if you want to get out of the corner or something like that, if you want to get more space, you do Mega Fist into that instead. Last thing about Mega Fist, when you press jump in this game, your character does a crouch animation and then goes up. What we like to call is that there's jumping frames. So you're grounded for a short amount of time. You are throw invincible during this point when you're on the ground, but you're not strike invincible. So if someone hits you during this point with a move, you're going to get hit. So a lot of times if you're holding up and someone does a meaty on you on wake up, you're going to get hit because you can't block during this time. But Mega Fist doesn't have that. Mega Fist puts you in the air instantly. The second you do Mega Fist, you're off the ground. You can't get, you're in the air. So there's some moves in this game or some pressure strings you can get out with Mega Fist just because you're airborne instantly compared to doing other moves. Slide head is one of Potemkin's weirdest moves. So you get a hard knockdown. As we've talked about many times, hard knockdown is what you want the most with Potemkin. But when you use it up close like this, you'll usually get shit on for it. So I don't recommend using it close. What you want to use it for is to close the gap. Against characters like Axel or any character that's running away from you, really. If you get a slide head, you're back in, right? Now, when you do slide head for full screen, it is not your turn if you get this close. So you want to get to a range like around here, so you're back into footsie range. I'll show you again. If you hit slide head, you want to charge into this, and then like when I stop there, he can't hurt me, but I can't hurt him, right? I should have ended it a little bit back like this, and then we would have been pretty much even on ball or even on moves. But when I went forward a little bit, I'm a little negative instead. But yeah, if you get point blank, you're just gonna get punished. Do not get that close ever. A slide head does have a thing of armor, by the way. So if you want to armor through something, you can use slide head and then RC cancel out of it or something like that. If you just want the armor problem. The cool thing about slide head, it actually gets rid of projectiles if you hit the opponent with it. So their projectile just disappears if you hit them with slide head. So it doesn't do damage, but it gets their projectile away. So if you think someone's going to shoot a projectile, don't be scared to react with slide head, because you're not going to get hit by it afterwards. Unless it's like a super or something, then don't do that. I do want to point out slide head is very punishable. It is easy to react to. If you do slide head in this range, they can literally see that you're doing it, air dash into you, and get a jump in combo. So you do not want to use it. At this range, you do not want to spam it like crazy. But I do want to point out is that because of that, if you do it at full range, people will often go into you while you're doing slide head. So if you want your opponent to come to you instead of you go to them, you can just start spamming slide head. If you watch me play, I do it all the time. I will just spam slide head to get them to approach me. It's the best. They don't realize that's why you're doing it either. So they'll just be like, oh, this idiot's spamming slide head, I'll show him, then run into you. You're like, perfect, thank you. It's great. Next move is Hammerfall. So this is your main source of mobility. This is the thing that confuses a lot of people when they first pick up Potemkin. So Potemkin, if you don't know already, does not have a dash. You can see by me spamming the dash macro. He has a back dash, but he doesn't have an air dash forward or backwards. So you use Hammerfall to get mobility. Now, Hammerfall is Potemkin's only charge move. You just hold back and then press forward heavy, right? Now, the thing, though, is that in this game, charge moves have a very short cooldown, or you don't need to charge for very long. So, for example, you can do heavy slash into Hammerfall like that. You can do it really fucking fast. But yeah, so the reason why you cancel, because in this game, cancel is not as safe as it used to be in the other Guilty Gear games, but you want to cancel so you're not stuck in active frames or stuck in the attack. Because committing to this all the time, this is unsafe on block. Hammerfall on block is -6, just like Mega Fist forward. But on hits, very good. Also, if you don't know anything about Potemkin, it does have armor. This move and slide head both have one thing of armor, so you can take one hit. So if you play a character like Zato, and his far slash is the dragon snap, that's a double hit. You could just press that if you see him approach with it. But yeah, that's why you usually cancel. The other thing about this move, and I'm gonna get into more RC stuff probably on a different video, but I'll show you a little tidbit. When you do Hammerfall, you can cancel it with RC, right? So you can do things like this, and it's very, very good. But yeah, just if you're intimidated by Hammerfall, just know you don't have to charge for very long. I'm doing it pretty much the shortest time possible you have to charge. You do not have to charge very long. You don't stress too much about Hammerfall. You can pretty much confirm it into any button, right? So do not stress yourself out about having to hold back all the time. Hold forward, and then once you start doing things, then you charge. It will become second nature to you once you've been playing a charge character for a while. Just don't overthink it. That's my biggest tip. If you're having trouble with moving with Hammerfall, don't overthink it. You'll get the hang of it. Just don't feel like you have to charge 24/7. Walk forward whenever you feel like. Pretend you don't have to charge, and you'll be a lot better off. Another note about Hammerfall, you can get thrown out of it, and it's a high. So if someone does 6p, your Hammerfall loses. If someone grabs you, it loses. So just know Hammerfall as an attack is a giant risk. You do not want to commit to the attack very often unless you have meter. If you have meter, then go for it, because it's your only way to get from here to here without having to take an hour to get there. So F.D.B is actually my favorite move with Potemkin. Not his best move by any means, but one of the many reasons I main Potemkin is because how much I like the animation for F.D.B. I think it's just a really cool move. So F.D.B, the longer you hold it, the more damage it does. So this does 54 damage to soul, while if you fully charge it, does 73 damage, right? You're not going to fully charge it very often, but just something to note, because occasionally you can do pressure like this and then just hold it, and people will get impatient, get hit by it. Also adds more chip damage. The main use for F.D.B currently is just to like make your moves more safe. It never truly makes your move safe, but if you commit to something like this point blank, F.D.B cancel is going to be that, or Mega Fist backwards are the only things that's going to get you out of that, you know? So if you make a mistake, F.D.B is usually your go-to. F.D.B, I don't remember the startup frames for the attack, but it reflects projectiles on frame 2. So you do not need to actually be able to flick the projectile. You just need to pull this baby up and let go of it, or just pull it up and you'll be able to flick. So for example, if I hit him, see, there's no way in hell I would have got the flick in time. So yeah, 2 frames startup on the flick. So just know that. If someone's doing if someone's doing strings with projectiles on you, you can almost always reflect the projectile during it. A lot of times souls will do that. They'll do fake pressure with fireballs. You can FDB every single time. Not every single time, but almost every single time. One last note about FDB, which is really bad about it, is that when you do FDB, Potemkin extends his hand like this, right? His whole hand is a hurt box. So he's pretty much shifting his hurt box forward by a lot. So a lot of times when you use FDB, so if someone does a jump in, they'll just hit the jump in because you're extending your hurt box by a lot. So remember that. If you're just spamming FDB, you're a lot fucking easier to hit. So use it at your own risk, you know? Garuda Impact is one of Potemkin's coolest moves, or coolest tools. One, it has a lot of range, as you can see. Two, it leads into combos, which is really fucking cool. So you can hit that into that. You can hit Garuda into sweep to get the hard knockdown. And the thing that makes Garuda the absolute coolest is that you can do Garuda Impact into Pot Buster for a true combo. There's no other move that Pot has that leads into Potemkin Buster as a true combo besides Garuda. So going into Garuda Impact, very good. The thing about Garuda Impact is that it has like, it's like 20 to 30 frame startup, somewhere between there. I don't remember the exact startup, but it has a very long startup. But I want to note something else. Garuda's hitbox is ridiculous. His whole hand right there, his whole giant metal electronical hand, does not have a hurt box. It is a giant disjoint. His whole flame is a giant disjoint. This move actually makes his body go backwards. So you can use Garuda to make people whiff buttons if you know you're spacing correctly, / you know they're gonna press a button. Garuda does a lot. And the other thing about Garuda is that it's active for 13 frames. This is your most active move besides your fucking Urian wall, but that doesn't really count. It is active for 13 frames. Thus, if you saw my Potemkin Buster thing earlier, when you do this, because it's so meaty off of that, I can combo into Garuda Impact again. That is a true combo because of the 13 active frames. You're hitting near the end of the 13 active frames, so you have enough time to go back into Garuda and hit it again. It's pretty fucking stellar, if you ask me. I never use the word stellar, but fuck it, we're keeping it. It's also plus 19 on block. So if you go into Garuda, then you instantly do Pot Buster, you're not going to hit it because you're so plus that you have to wait a little bit / move forward to do it. So when you do this, you have to wait a second, then go into Pot Buster. So if you get really good at Potemkin, you can do this, walk forward, and then Pot Buster. I didn't do it exactly correctly, the timing right there, but you can take a couple steps forward, then go into Pot Buster. It's very good. Very, very good. So when you hit Garuda on block, there's multiple things you can do. You can do Garuda into this, and that will catch a lot of people try to backdash afterwards because people love spamming backdash. I don't think it actually catches their jump, but it'll hit them so they're back grounded if you do 6H afterwards. What I like to do is just kind of go into mix with it. I don't try to interpret the end option, so I'll do Garuda into like 5K or 2K or 5D, something like that, right? To try to mix them up when they're stunned like that. But one of the best things, especially in the corner, you can do is that you can actually just go into Garuda, into Garuda, into Garuda, and it does a lot of chip damage. If you look at the top right, that's how much chip damage it does. This is a little bit less than a jab on hit. It does pretty great chip damage. So sometimes you'll see to finish a round, I'll just Garuda multiple times, right? And the thing is, so if you think they're gonna jump, you can just throw out a Heat Knuckle. And if they jump the Heat Knuckle, like we talked about, you can go into Pot Buster. So you're putting them in a super unfavorable situation. And like I said, at this type of range, one of the only ways out of it, right, the pressure is to DP. But if you're spacing correctly, their DP can't hit you because your hurt box gets shifted backwards. Your best corner tool is Garuda. It is great. It sets up a lot of stuff. So we'll talk about one of the tools that I love, but a lot of other Potemkins aren't using it quite yet, is his Urian Wall. Its real name I always forget, so you'll always hear me refer to Urian Wall. This tool is just like a lot of Potemkin stuff, it's really good and slash could be a waste of meter at the same time. So essentially with it, if you want to get out of the corner, right, you can use this, and then you can walk behind it. It's very good just to have a wall. And if you see them jump, you jump. If you see them try to go under it, because characters like Soul can go under it with Bandit Bringer or whatever the move's called, you can hit them with 5k, right? And then they'll go into it. So pretty much, if they're reacting in a way like they're scared of the wall, it's very beneficial. But the way you should think about the Urian wall, think of it as a fireball. What you want to do is that you just want to run up to it and block it as fast as possible, because it has 3 hits. It has 3 hits on a player. One other note about it is that you could shoot Ram's laser beam into this, and it won't break. It will not go away against projectiles. It will keep going forward. Also, one of the changes from the beta is that it will stay on screen no matter what until its duration is over, or if it hits another player 3 times. Only another player. It can hit Floss's little babies over and over again. It won't go away. It has to hit a player 3 times. So to counteract the wall, what you want to do is jump into it or just run at it, then block it so it goes away fast. But most people don't know that. So how you can use it, you can use it to get out, you can use it by walking behind it. But what I like to do is that you use it, then you hammer fall inside of it, and then you walk align it. And what I like to do even more, especially if I have the life lead, I'll throw up the wall, then I'll go in front of it. We'll start fighting like the wall's not even there. Then they'll try to hit you, hit the wall because their hitbox goes, or their hurt box goes through you on the wall, and then you can combo off the wall. It's really great to bait people. And I want to say, people don't know how to react to it. I have won so many matches by people just running into the wall stupidly. I do want to note, the wall is not as effective against Soul, Eno, Chip, and Milia. They have very good tools to get around the wall, get over and under the wall. So against those 4 matchups, you don't want to use the wall as often as other characters. Now, characters like Nagoriyuki or like Leo Whitefang, the wall's really good against, because against Nagoriyuki, he has a very hard time jumping over the wall, and against Leo Whitefang, it absorbs his projectiles, and he also has a very hard time jumping over the wall because all of his attacks in the air extend his hitbox or hurtbox really far, so he usually hits it if he presses a button. Also, just in case, I'm not going to show you what's optimal because honestly, I don't even know yet. But one cool thing you can do is that you can throw out the wall, go in front of it, pot buster, then throw them into the wall, right? And it can combo, as you saw. You can get it a lot sooner too. You can do other stuff kind of similar. You can use the wall, go O forward, then throw them into it like that. You can do all types of different stuff by going in front of it. It's pretty cool, so extend combos and whatnot. So one note about the wall is that they cannot burst the wall because it is a super, right? So see here, Soul does not burst, but if I throw a normal while they're getting hit by the wall, oops. If I throw a normal while they're getting hit by the wall, he can just burst out of it. So wait till the wall, make sure they don't have burst, or wait till the wall duration's over. Last note about this move is that it is your reversal. This is your only wake up attack. This is your one reversal as Potemkin, but it is not throw invincible. So if an opponent thinks you're going to wake up super, they can throw you. It doesn't do the best damage, but to be honest, Potemkin doesn't need another super high damaging move. But just note, if you want people off of you and you have bar, this is what you want to do. It's also a very good anti-air. So if you suck at anti-airing, this covers pretty well as an anti-air. Next is everyone's favorite move besides Pot Buster, Heavenly Potemkin Buster. So I have very mixed feelings about this move. Damage-wise, this move is incredible. This move is one of the highest damaging supers in the game. So you're thinking, oh, then it must be godlike. The hitbox on this move is atrocious. You cannot grab people directly above you, and you cannot grab people slightly too far away, and it's very frustrating. But the what is it called? One useful tip is that if you can hit a non-counter hit 2H, you can go into Heavily Potemkin Buster. So situations like that, that's in range of Potemkin Buster. But if they're any farther than this distance after this, if they're any farther gain launch from that distance, you cannot hit Heavenly Potemkin Buster. So in situations like this, you cannot hit Heavenly Potemkin Buster, and it sucks really bad. Just know when you use Heavenly Potemkin Buster, you can get stuffed by other aerials, and yeah, so just you can get stuffed by other aerials. So you want to use this only on jump reads or combos. You do not want to just throw it out if someone's been in the air for a while, because they'll usually hit you out of it. You could get it, but a lot of times you'll get hit out of it. So it's kind of a weird one, right? But if you can manage to use your meter and hit it, use it, because the damage output is way too strong. You can combo after Heavenly Potemkin Buster, and it does pretty good damage after the fact. But do not RC into Heavenly Potemkin Buster. That's all I gotta say. Only use Heavenly Potemkin Buster early on in a combo. If you use it near the end of the combo, the scaling on it is atrocious. The last thing we're gonna cover here is Kara. When people hear about Potemkin and they hear about Kara, their mind goes crazy. Like, what is this? What does Kara mean? All Kara means is you're using a move to cancel into another move for forward momentum. So you're using 6K. You cut off the beginning frames of 6K to get forward momentum. So let me show you an example. It makes a lot of his moves very useful. So this is the normal range of Mega Fist, right? That's how far it goes. Easier to show. From full distance, it takes me 3 Mega Fists to reach Soul. Now, Kara Mega Fist goes this far. Kara Mega Fist goes normal Mega Fist, Kara Mega Fist. Kara Mega Fist. Kara Mega Fist only takes 2 to get all the way across the screen. So as you can see, it goes a lot farther than normal Mega Fist. It can be very deceptive. You can be around this range and then hit a normal from all the way from downtown, you know? People aren't going to expect it if you don't use it very often. Or they might just not expect it because it's only 25 frames forward. It's pretty dang good. Now, I'm really bad at doing it, but you can also Kara Mega Fist backwards, right? So you have backwards Mega Fist, forwards Mega Fist. Now, backwards Kara Mega Fist has very weird properties. So normally backwards Mega Fist and forward Mega Fist is 59 damage. If you Kara Mega Fist backwards, it does even more damage. There you see, 78. It also has weird bounce-up properties, so to optimize your combos effectively with Potemkin, you will need to learn how to do it. But just know, you can only Kara if you're able to use 6K. So you can special cancel, or you can cancel a lot of your normals into 6K. 5P you can cancel into 6K. 2P you can cancel into 6K. 5K you can cancel into 6K. 2K you can cancel into 6K. Close slash you can cancel into 6K. But all your other normals do not cancel into 6K. So I can't do far slash into 6K. I can only go into heavy slash. Same thing with heavy slash, crouching heavy slash, or 2H, 2S. You cannot normal cancel into 6K. Kara Potemkin Buster. So here's the easiest way to show you the range of Kara Potemkin Buster. This is normal Potemkin Buster around start. This is Kara Potemkin at round start. Your range, that's pretty much max range, here to there. It goes stupid fucking far. So this technique you will want to use, because what's the hardest thing about Potemkin is his mobility. It pretty much gives you a little fucking dash forward grab. It's very, very, very good. So it will take a little bit to master this, but just because this is a guide, let me show you guys how I do it. Essentially, what I do is I take my hand, and in Soul Calibur, there's something called a slide input. What a slide input is you put your finger on one button, and then you slide it to another, like that, on controller. So it's like you just slide your finger. So what I do, again, this is awkward to show, is that I put my hand on X. So I do Potemkin Buster. I do that, then I just slide my thumb up like that. You see on screen slightly, you can see that it shows the input's going K to P, not at the same time like that. See? That's what I do. It's called slide input. So I just do a normal Potemkin Buster like it always is. But then I just slide my finger with K first. But you can Kara any of Potemkin's special moves. Every single one of them. Just some of them, there's no point. So, for example, the one that matters the least is you can Kara Hammerfall. There's just no point. You can't even tell the difference. But technically, you're using Kara on Hammerfall. You can Kara Flick. This actually is kind of good. It increases your range a bit. I have to hold my controller as claw to do it. So I'm pretty bad at doing it. But yeah, as you can see, you can. Again, I'm pretty bad at it. But yeah, you can Kara Flick. It gives you a little bit more range. One of the biggest uses that people aren't really into right now is Kara Garuda Impact. Kara Garuda Impact. Again, I suck at this input, so bear my mistakes. Kara Garuda Impact is very good because one, it leads into a combo. So normally right here, if I hit Garuda Impact on round start, I then can't, or if I hit Garuda Impact at round start, I can't go into Pot Buster. But if I Kara Garuda Impact, I then can Kara into Pot Buster. So it gives you more possibilities on combos. And the biggest use for that is when Potemkin breaks walls in this game, you kind of don't get anything with super. So if you guys don't know, when you break a wall with a super, you get a hard knockdown. And Potemkin doesn't really get that much off of the hard knockdown. Besides, you can take a risky 6k there. You actually get a pretty good punish. See, it's very misleading. They don't expect you to get that close. If you do it perfectly, they can't jump away. They can't backdash away. It's great, and it puts you in range to keep going. So try to master breaking the wall with your Urian wall super into Kara Garuda Impact. I do want to note one thing. I'm not sure if it works on all characters, but you can also just do Garuda Impact from here, and it hits some characters. But yeah, you see, not all characters. So if you Kara it instead, you'll guarantee hit all characters. Another useless Kara is Slide Head, by the way. It looks pretty funny though. Little forward momentum. God damn it. Little forward momentum slide head. Get in range quicker. So good. I'm just kidding. There's no point in doing it. But hey, you never know. You can Kara Urian wall. You just get that slight momentum forward. You can Kara, as you just saw, Heat Knuckle as well. That can be useful, especially because you can go into Potemkin Buster afterwards, but normally you won't really need to be doing it. You can Kara your super. It can, again, it might be applicable, but normally it's not very important. But yeah, there, I Kara'd it. So yeah, just know you can Kara all your specials. The big ones is Kara Mega Fist and Kara Command Grab. I've shown you guys a bunch of combos during this tutorial or guide or whatever the fuck you want to call it, but I'm going to show you the combos I use the most. These aren't the most optimal things in the world, but these are the ones that you'll see I do all the time. These are like you're going to use these at least once every other game type of combos. Ah, wait. Oh, I do. Yeah, I do it all the time. That is not... Yeah, it does so. but little caveats that are different. 6H Hammerfall Ender combo. I've seen it, but honestly, I still haven't started using it yet. This is the one everyone always asks me about. There. Oh, this is what you're asking. This combo, yeah, this is pretty important. There you go. There we go. Last thing I want to talk about in the video is how to use meter as Potemkin. I know a lot of people don't understand how the RC system works, but let me show you some easy ways to use meter. The biggest way to use meter as Potemkin, and I know this sounds shitty, but trust me, it's good, is when you guess wrong. So when you get into this range, you're in a strike throw mix-up. You might have heard me say this term. What that means is that I'm either going to command throw, or I'm going to hit you, or do nothing. So, but essentially command throw or attack. So the enemy player has to jump to dodge your command throw, or sit there and block to deal with your attacks, right? Or DP or whatever, but command grab beats DP. So when you're in this area, you have to make a guess as they have to make a guess. So if you guess wrong, that's when you use meter. So let's say I came here, right? And I was like, oh shit, they're gonna jump. I'm gonna counter their jump. And I decided to do it with something besides a quick normal. So let's say they jump right, or I think they're gonna jump and I go for Heat Knuckle, right? What I can do is that I can go for Heat Knuckle, then cancel it with meter. You essentially want to use your meter to make your option safe, right? Oops. You want to make the option safe. But the thing to that is that when you do this, you'll see that it slows down time and you can see that they're grounded, right? So what you can do is that, I'm kind of bad at doing this, but what you can do is that you can do this into Fast RC Potemkin Buster. You do that type of stuff. So you're pretty much covering your bad option and still gain a reward with it. And same thing, if you think they're gonna jump, so let's say he jumps, right? I can go into that. And if they block the second hit, wow, first try. So essentially you can cover your mistakes. And the last caveat is people will backdash to try to dodge your Potemkin Buster. Kind of the same thing. So guys, I just want to say, I know again there's more optimal combos. I guarantee you there's things that I forgot during this guide. It is very hard to think of everything you know when you're playing against a computer. But if you guys ever have any questions or anything, you just come over to my Twitch and ask me there, or ask in the comments. If you look at the comments, I'm always happy to answer you guys' questions. Okay, have a good one. See you later.